So I have some news. I'm no longer on the run. This is a huge development. I know a lot of other important things happened today, but I am no longer on the run. I've been on the run for nearly 20 days. It was long, it was arduous, and quite frankly, I'm not entirely sure how I survived. I managed to get Interpol off my back by pretending to be Phil Shifley. I got a fake passport together and everything. Then I was able to get MI6 off my back because I haven't been in England in almost 20 days, and so they just got tired and had some tea. The CIA, on the other hand, I convinced them that I would help them assassinate a Central American dictator, and so that is still pending. We'll see how that works out. But as of now, all three have left me alone, so I have returned home. Unfortunately, the magical elves of streaming have not put together my background yet. I'm stunned, quite frankly, that did not happen, even though I have not been in this room in quite a long time. It honestly feels weird, doesn't it? You're seeing me in high definition. I'm really sorry to do that to you. And if you're English, I'm also sorry to do this to you. Spain was the best team in this tournament. Spain deserved to win. They were the best team in this tournament, and we are going to be dealing, and I say we, I mean the collective world, we, outside of Spain, and honestly even in Spain, depending on what club you're a fan of, we are going to be dealing with a couple of these young talented players on Spain for a very, very, very long time. I mean, Lamine Yamal's dad is younger than Jesus Navas, who is Lamine Yamal's teammate at this European Championship. So like that is how insanely young Lamine Yamal is. Of course, Nico Williams is young too. Those two guys combining for the opening goal. But let's be honest, even though Cole Palmer stroked in what was, if England win this game, one of the most memorable moments in footballing history, Spain was just better. They were better the entire game. They kept the ball better. They created better chances. I mean, that first 20 minutes at the start of the second half, Spain could have scored 3 goals easily. You wouldn't have batted an eye and said it was undeserved. Spain was that much better than England. England got itself back in the game. The crowd was incredible. I mean, the noise, even coming through my TV screen, the noise of the English fans, especially after the goal, that period of time before Oyar. I'm trying to say it right because I used to say Oyarzabal, but it's Oyarzabal. The Spanish guy that ended up scoring the winning goal. Before his winning goal, the noise in there was just fantastic. And look, England at some point in the next 200 years, I feel comfortable making this prediction, is going to win a major tournament again on the men's side. It is very, very hard to climb that mountain, apparently, for England in every single bit of this game. But let's be honest. If England had won this tournament, okay, because that's what everybody's focused on. I mean, congrats to Spain if you are Spanish. Huge win. You've got a great team that's set for the future for a long time. Danny Olmo coming into his own as well in this tournament. He was absolutely brilliant. That goal line clearance at the end. I mean, come on. But if you're English, this was not your best team. This wasn't your best team. This wasn't your best chance. And that almost is Gareth Southgate's specialty. He takes these teams that are not very good and he manages to drive them onward into glory, right? Like he takes the team in 2018 where we're throwing out. I say we. I'm not English, but when the English are throwing out Jesse Lingard and Dele Alli, right? And he takes that team to a World Cup semifinal. I mean, it is impressive what Gareth Southgate has done. The fact that he has lost this game does not really change my opinion of Gareth Southgate at all. If he had won this game, it wouldn't really change my opinion of Gareth Southgate at all. You've heard me say it here a million times. He's a good coach. This was not England's best team, right? Too many of England's best players no-showed. Harry Kane did not really do anything in this tournament. Now, I'm aware that Gareth Southgate was probably telling him to drop deeper than the Titanic, right? But he wasn't able to do anything from the role that he was assigned. Phil Foden basically didn't exist, right? I mean, have you seen the way Phil Foden plays like at club level? I don't know where that guy is, but I swear his twin brother's suiting up for the English national team, right? Kyle Walker at his best is unbeatable. Just could not bring his best at this tournament, right? And Declan Rice is being kind of exposed as a guy who can't play in a more progressive passing system. He needs somebody like Odegaard in front of him who's going to be able to open up the play a little more, and then he can kind of come up and sweep up from the back. I mean, there's a lot of different things about this team that didn't really work, but all of that can be summed up, and I'm not disrespecting Ollie Watkins here, in the fact that you're taking out Harry Kane, who at a lot of points, particularly over the last couple of years, could have been considered maybe the best number 9 in the world for Ollie Watkins, who's not in that conversation. And again, no insult to Ollie Watkins. He had a really good tournament, and honestly, England looked better after Ollie Watkins came into the game. I think it was the right substitution at the time, but that sums up the issue that England is having under Gareth Southgate and just getting the best out of its best players. I just think the way that Gareth Southgate coaches his team to play is not necessarily compatible with the actual best players on the English national team. And I think the number one reason that Gareth Southgate should probably ride off into the sunset here is because you hopefully can find a manager that is able to relate to Phil Foden and Harry Kane, right? That is able to pull the best out of Jude Bellingham over the course of 90 minutes and not just after those 90 minutes. Not like Jude had a bad game today, but somebody to guide this new generation of players, and maybe somebody that decides starting Cole Palmer is probably a pretty good idea, considering he was stirring the drink the entire time that he was on the field, right? There's a lot of questions that are come out after this game, but I do not think that this was England's best team by a long shot. And they shithoused their way to the final, right? Spain was unbelievable. They were absolutely unbelievable. The entire tournament. I said their group was the group of death in the group stage. They had Croatia, they had Italy, they had an Albanian team I thought was going to be a walkover and certainly was not. Right? They managed to beat all those teams. They end up on the hard side of the draw. You got to play Germany. You got to play France. While England's playing like, half of the former Czechoslovakia and needs a 95th minute equalizer to do it. Now, making the final is making the final. But now that the tournament is over, we can certainly look back and say that Spain was the only deserving team to win this match before the match even started. England did exactly what it needed to do to get to this final. It did no more, and it got found out. Spain is just better. And I'd be willing to wager that if you threw France or Germany on that field against England in this final, they both would have won too. France beat England a year and a half ago at the World Cup. Nearly 2 years ago now. And the way that German team was playing, they took this Spain team all the way to 119 minutes. That is absolutely amazing. But to get into a couple of the storylines on this, one, Danny Olmo on Kane's trophy curse. You might remember this from before the match. I kept Harry Kane's trophy curse going in Germany, and I'm not done yet. Back that up. This man literally had a goal line clearance in the 90th minute off that Guéhi header. That was an incredible play by Danny Olmo. Absolutely absurd. And then the fine, I saved this one, the fine margins that go into a game like this too. When I first saw the winning goal for Mikel Oyarzabal, I was sure he was offside, right? And this was, it was just bad defense. It was just bad defending, right? This is the one thing England's been able to do well under Gareth Southgate very consistently, is keep the other team from being able to score. And England just had to scrap 20 minutes to get to extra time without letting the other team score. But they didn't. John Stones, who, if you're rating him in Football Manager, the issue in his attributes is always like concentration. He just didn't pick up a late late deep run from Oyarzabal. Kyle Walker did not have a good game. This ball comes in, stabbed home. Pickford, this is just from a goalkeeping perspective, didn't really know where Oyarzabal was when he was coming across the goal. If you watch the highlight, he kind of goes past him instead of going towards him, which is what you're supposed to do. I feel bad going at Pickford too much, though, because he did have a very good match. He is a great big match goalkeeper. He delivered. He had some excellent distribution as well. Great hands the whole match. But this is definitely one that he'll be replaying in his head. It's not one where he should wear most of the blame. But still, this is just so close. And also, every time I see one of these pictures, why do La Liga and the Premier League not have this technology? You guys make so much money from TV every single year, and you can't. There's another time to get worked up about that. And then here is the number one thing that I saved, because it backs up basically what I've been saying this entire video. England created less XG at Euro 2024 than Croatia, who you might recall from earlier in this video when I said they were in the same group as Italy and Spain. Croatia didn't get out of the groups. Croatia played 3 matches. England played 7. And in those 3 matches, Croatia, again, did not even get out of the group and created more XG than England. If you watch this full match for a full 90 minutes, it's amazing that England even scored 1 goal. Every single match in this tournament felt the same. There were no chances until there was 1 chance and England scored. I cannot help but feel that if this England team was unchained and arranged in a more aggressive posture, that it would be capable of scoring a lot more goals. Would it have made it to this final? Maybe not, because again, I don't think this is the best England team that has existed over the last, I think the England team that went to the 2022 World Cup was better. I think the England team that showed up at the 2021 Euros was better. Sorry, the 2020 Euros and 2021 was better. But, this team is clearly capable of finishing off chances, but the way that it's set up under Gareth Southgate, it just wasn't capable of creating them. This is a team that got all the way to the final of a competition and created less than 1 XG per match. And had the majority of its matches against teams that would be ranked well outside the top 30 in the world. Not that you can trust the world rankings as far as you can throw them. Belgium's probably going to move up from 3 to 2 after this tournament. But if you're outside the top 30 and you're playing against England, England should be the one with the upper hand. England will be back, but there is probably going to be a coaching search in the near future. Gareth Southgate, the only reason that he would want to stay the England manager is that sort of competitive spirit that he believes he is the one that will eventually get England over the top. But after 2 losses in finals in a team that's getting stale and is clearly not getting the best out of its players, it's probably time. But Spain, my goodness, congratulations. Lamine Yamal's already got a trophy as a starting player. Nico Williams was brilliant. And those 2 guys are going to be terrorizing Europe and the world for the foreseeable future. I shudder to think. Also, we now live in a world where Alvaro Morata, despite what looked like a horrific knee injury, I thought looked like a real bad knee injury suffered when that security guard slid into him the other night, he is now captained Spain to a European championship. Marinate in that. We live in that reality. Of all of the infinite realities, that's the one you live in. I've probably been recording for too long already. They're going to find me, aren't they?